Hello, welcome back to another top 10. With all my research I've done for my theory video, which if you want to have a look, the link will be in the description below. As I'm doing the research anyway, I may as well do a list of fan theories based on Disney's Mulan. But without any further delay, here is top 10 fan theories about Disney's Mulan. Number 10. Mushu is evil. Summoned for the only purpose of restoring the family honour, I guess in this case by any means, Mushu decides to write a letter that causes the group of misfits and Mulan to be led into battle against the Huns in order to save China. While us fan theorists don't think so. Mushu was hoping Mulan would lose her life in the battle and therefore never be discovered to have been a woman, which would restore the family's honour without her getting caught. Luckily for Mulan and unfortunate for Mushu, they arrive late to the battle and it is already over, and Mulan survives another night. They then continue, and Mushu still hasn't really helped much, only until the end of the film, where it is easier to save China than it would have been to kill Mulan. But all's well that ends well, I guess. They still save China, right? Number 9. Mulan is not the hero. In contrary to the previous theory, they do cause the actions to actually lead Mulan to her success and to achieve her goals. Changing the course from the training ground for the group to be sent into battle allowed them to realise that Chinese forces had been lost and that they would be needed to save the Emperor. And this only happened because Mushu and Kritki forged that letter that sent them to the front lines to support the Chinese forces. And again, when the rocket was fired accidentally by Mushu, alerting the Huns to their location, this unexpectedly started a battle where Mulan could take advantage of the mountains. She ran forward, fired the rocket, causing an avalanche which wiped out the majority of the Hun army. Mulan used the environment to her advantage, which would not have been possible going to the location that they were going to. Although these are potentially just accidents, they nonetheless helped to save China against the Huns, giving Mulan the opportunity to win the war. Number 8. First gay Disney prince. So the main focus of Mulan was gender equality. But there may have been something else overlooked in this film. Mulan joins the army pretending to be a man to save her father's life. In doing so, she has to earn the trust of her comrades, but she gains more than that from Shang. So the idea here is that Li Shang was falling in love with Mulan while she was pretending to be Ping, who he thought was a man. Which makes sense really, because for the majority of the film they spent together, she met him as a man and therefore continued to know him as a man. He didn't really know her much as a woman. And considering they were together in the second film, I guess he must have been bisexual. I'm just saying. 7. Dragons could have ended the war. If the Great Stone Dragon is real, then why doesn't China just straight up use dragons and kill all the Huns? The Huns didn't seem to summon any dragons of their own. I mean, at best they had a bird. But why didn't China? Surely it would have saved a lot of lives. Or maybe that's the problem. This could be shocking, but the theory states that the war is fate, a complete conspiracy created by China to help solve the problem of an exploding population that they cannot meet the demands of. All of the lost lives will solve that problem. That's probably the darkest theory about Mulan we'll have. Number 6. Fazoo should have joined, not Mulan. Mulan was rejected from the army and was told to pack up, go home, you're through. How could I make a man out of you? Therefore, she would have been sent home and Fazoo would have been saved. I mean, surely in the future they would have looked for Peng and Mulan would have probably have gotten caught eventually. However, if she didn't go and she just let her father go, surely he would have been sent home for the same reason. He couldn't even pick up his sword, so surely he wouldn't have been sent to battle. And therefore Mulan would never have had to go to war. I mean, her intentions wasn't to save China, it was only to save her father. This theory kind of says, who cares about China, but still. But if we look at it the other way and say that the theory has to save China as well, despite it not being Mulan's objective, instead of the legendary soldier that the Chinese army was expecting, they got a Ping. Which, although was great at the end, Ping was actually not that great to start with. However, if it was Fazoo that joined the army, he would have brought with him, being a war hero, a great morale boost to the army. Potentially not even needing to wield a sword, he could have helped lead the battle against the Huns, and the Huns would never have reached the Emperor, thus saving China. Number 5. The Great Stone Dragon died. Okay, so have you noticed that Mushu is the gong ringer, and when he's asked to wake up the other ancestors, just gentle taps on the gong, wakes them all up. So why is it when he goes to the Great Stone Dragon and he's bashing at it, why doesn't he wake up? Maybe he's already passed on. Fazoo is a war hero, and potentially could have been saved by the Great Stone Dragon that died trying to protect him. So the Great Stone Dragon could have been Fazoo's guardian. This theory claims that the Great Stone Dragon was assigned to Fazoo during the previous war, where he became a war hero. Fazoo likely gained an injury which caused him to be near death, and the Great Stone Dragon sacrificed himself in order to save his life. However, this would have come at a great cost. Surely the life of a dragon is a big thing, right? So whoever caused this to happen would be somewhat disrespected or considered a failure. Wow, the general, Zhao, isn't really given the greatest respect that a battle-hardy, very experienced general should be. Maybe leading the battle of the previous war, he made decisions that led to Fazoo's injury and thus causing the dragon's death. Number 4. A girl. What do we want? A girl worth fighting for? But Mulan is fighting for her dad. But what you might not know is that there is a book that Mulan is based on, and in that book Mulan has a sister, and her sister is called Yulan. In the book, her sister Yulan goes missing, and Mulan goes to war in hopes to find her long-lost sister. So maybe this song was a reference to the book, where Mulan was actually searching for her sister, a girl that's got a brain, who always speaks her mind. Number 3. Gender dysphoria. This theory states that Mulan is actually suffering with gender dysphoria. She struggles living as a woman in China, which, although isn't surprising considering the suppression of identity ultimately there just to serve men, she has been considered a tomboy and certainly doesn't approve of the system that is currently in place in China. Maybe the decision to fight for her father was made easier because that was the life that she always wanted, but ultimately could not have. But what about the men's habits that absolutely disgust her? Well, these habits are mostly over-exaggerated and not entirely true. I mean, mostly over-exaggerated. Some are far worse. Number 2. Zhao Yang. I hope I pronounced that right. Zhao Yang? I think that's how you do it. Again, referring to the book that Mulan was originally based on, Zhao Yang wrote to Mulan requesting that she join her army, without realising that Mulan was a woman herself. And the theory goes that they became lovers, but this detail was left out of the book, because at the time of the book's release, homosexuality was not yet in any way acceptable. Number 1. The horse is a guardian. Mushu is not Mulan's only guardian. We know the guardians are usually in statue form, and thinking of this, the ancestors were choosing which guardian to send out to aid Mulan. The list included a rooster, a goat, an ox, a monkey, a rabbit, a dragon, and a tiger. These are resembling the Chinese zodiacs, which means we have a few missing. And if there was a guardian out there already, it must have been one of those missing from that list, which leaves out a dog, a rat, a snake, which might actually be Mushu considering the Great Stone Dragon, and the horse. Which that last one I said is actually a good contender. Khan, the horse, could have been given to Fazoo as he was chosen to go to war. Considering his wound, with his limited mobility, a horse would be able to carry him into battle, hopefully saving his life at any given opportunity. So I believe that the ancestors would have chosen a horse to protect him. And to go further with this theory, Khan is not like any other horse, even in this film. He shows much more intelligence and strength. But if you'd like to hear more about this theory, then check out this video, where I take a much deeper dive into it. But before you go, remember to like this video and subscribe with notifications turned on, so that you can see much more great content like these two videos. Anyway, have a great day, and I'll see you around. I thought, considering I'm making the research, so now I'll make a top 10 list out of you. I mean, at best they had a bird. It states that this is a population. However, Fazoo was joined. However, no, is that. But what you. But anyway, people should love who they want to love, and who cares? Just stay out of other people's business.